Critical appreciation of the Westland. T.S. Eliot is considered one of the influential writers of the 20th century. He is not only a critic but also a dramatist, a prose writer, and a poet. The theme of the Westland is essentially the spiritual experience of a man. In the world of today, one cannot ignore the social, secular, commercial, and technical compulsions of the modern world. Eliot has referred to the past in order to show how the experience of the past can help in finding the solution of the problems of the modern time. The Westland exhibits the sordid reality of the Western civilization in the aftermath of World War I. The poem is an expression of disillusionment with contemporary society which was culturally barren. As Stephen Spender commented that there is a life in death, a life of complete inactivity, listlessness, and apathy. It also shows the dissatisfaction with the so-called scientific achievement and industrial progress of Europe. It symbolizes the modern civilization which is compared to a wasteland. The poem contains 433 lines. It is divided into five sections: the burial of the dead, a game of chess, the fire sermon, death by water, what the thunder said. The burial of the dead. In the first section of the poem, Eliot demonstrated the disturbing mindset of the people of modern civilization. April is a symbol of rebirth, while winter is a symbol for death. But for the people of the Westland, these elements are applied vice versa. The whole part is about the legging of the people in a spirituality. A game of chess. This section focuses on two opposing scenes. One is high society and another is lower society. There is a Roman representative lady of situation of the high society, whose drawing room decorated with all its beauty and glamour as mentioned through the lines. Here is a belladonna, the lady of the rocks, the lady of the situation. Males of the upper strata of the society having fun with girls near the river Thames. Three daughters of the river Thames who lost their virtue at the hands of several people. The rich merchants of commercial section are indulged in sexuality and homosexuality. Thus, the main idea is that sex perversity prevails among all sections of society. The fire sermon. The fire sermon opens with an image of river and the preachings of Lord Buddha. The Buddhist sermon encourages the people to liberate themselves from the five senses and the conscious mind. Eliot is saying that modern world has lost its magic and spiritualism. The lament song of maiden near the river Thames reminds her loss of innocence due to a lustful man. Fourth, death by water. The fourth section of the poem shows the significance of water as a means of purification and rebirth. The death of Phalebas, the Greek sailor, is an example of people who extremely follow worldly life. Their youth and strength ultimately will be consumed by death. The narrator asks his reader to recall his or her own morality. 5. What the thunder said. In the final section of the poem, Eliot evokes to the readers to follow their traditional path rather than in puzzling multiple orientation, taking reference from Indian Upanishad. According to these fables, the thunder gives, sympathizes, and controls through its speech. The poem ends according to Indian mythology through the lines Data Daya Dhavam Damyata Santi Santi. Conclusion. Thus, the Westland is not only a record of disillusionment of modern generation but also diagnoses the spiritual disease of the age. It refers to the universal tragedy of a man, his spiritual sterility and lack of faith. In fact, it is an embodiment of tragedy of life in which man passes through pains and sufferings because of the current values of modern material civilization.